In the last few months, we loudly have been hearing about the quiet challenges organizations are facing and labeling as quiet quitting, quiet firing, and quiet fleecing. What do they all mean? Quiet quitting is the firm boundary expressed by employees put in no more effort than their compensation and role explains. Quiet firing is the passive actions of a manager who avoids engaging an employee to the point they voluntarily quit. And quiet fleecing is a lack of increasing wages to keep pace with rising inflation, home, and healthcare costs, while organizations and CEOs see exponential profits. It's sounding like an evolution of change in the workplace. No surprise, with a confluence of 5 generations in the workforce and all participating in demanding different expectations from their employers' career and work life balance. Some companies and leaders are choosing to be like Ariana Huffington and her Thrive global company that reinforces a culture of work life balance and wellness in the workplace. Or some organizations choose to go to the extreme and jump to the recent trend to adopt boss tech software that monitors employee productivity. What a great trust builder, not. In a way, aren't the newer generations and employees of today pushing against the old relationships between employer and employee? And they're quite quitting. The new mantra will be we will no longer live to work, but work to live, to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be successful, to have balance in our lives. On the opposing side, we have organizations who keep demanding more and more out of employees for equal or lesser pay. Isn't that such a robotic, machine like way of thinking? If we want more out of our human beings, maybe by putting more human into our beings with caring, connecting, trust building conversations and an open dialogue about expectations, we can loudly create the increase in productivity and output we seek. Matt, what is your quiet opinion?
Yeah. Well, there seems to be a lot of things going on quietly lately. Quiet quitting, quiet fleecing, quiet firing. I think another important aspect of quiet quitting may arise from a misalignment between an employee's personal values and the values or mission of the company. For instance, if you're working at a social media company and you become aware that the company's products are causing psychological harm to teen and tween girls, you may start to suffer from cognitive dissonance. Or say you're employed at a fossil fuel company and you become aware that the company's products are causing global warming and precipitating the climate crisis. That could cause you to become demotivated in your work. When your personal values and your company's mission are at odds, would that internal conflict lead to a form of quiet quitting? And yet you may have a family, a mortgage, or student debt, and the company may be paying you a good salary. You may feel stuck. Some employees are making their voices heard at work, letting their company know about the misalignment between the company mission and what's beneficial to society at large, and that the company could be working towards minimizing the societal harm that the company's products may be inflicting. But that comes with a risk of retaliation from the employer. So rather than chance that, some employees may choose to keep their heads down and live with the cognitive dissonance. As a leader, how are you aligning the purpose and mission of your organization with your values and the values of your employees? How are you ensuring you're not creating cognitive dissonance with yourself and your staff? Twana, what are you thinking about this?
Matt and Kimberly, both of you speak to an evolution taking place in the workspace. It's a noticeable paradigm shift. Boundaries are being readjusted to accommodate expectations of employees and employers. The pandemic appears to have exposed a work life reckoning, one that challenges the mores and expectations of the generations in the workforce. These movements, be it the great resignation or the quiet quitting, both speak to convictions of conscious besetting employees, such as the stories that you shared, Matt. The choosing of employment that reflects their work life balance beliefs, beliefs that increasingly demand work right sizing or acting your wage. Ariana Huffington's organization appears to have had an extreme aha moment of work right sizing, Kimberly. As these movements continue and become more pronounced, employers have reacted with boss tech, software that quietly monitors who's performing and who's not. Boss text is not the answer. I have no doubt that these movements can be tracked through the documenting of quiet fleecing, that dichotomy of stagnant wage growth despite rising productivity and cost of living. These movements may be attributed to the noted rise in strikes and union organizing. Leaders, organizations at the top of the leaderboard engage in strategies that directly address employees' issues. Properly compensate your employees. Be clear and upfront about roles and responsibilities, including promotional pathways. Seek out employee-driven strategies for acknowledgments and recognitions. And lastly, make discretionary effort optional. Employees will respond accordingly.